All right, I hope there's no snaky boys around here, because I'm sitting right next to a bush in the desert. Anyway, the year is 2023. Last year I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail, and I've already done the Appalachian Trail in 2016, so I'm one step closer to the Continental Divide and the Triple Crown as a whole. So what hikes am I doing this year? Well, I've kind of alluded to some things that, I want to do some more off-trail hiking this year, and I kind of want to bump things up in difficulty. And I have two hikes that are on my mind, two hikes that I have very solid plans to do, and I am deep into that process. But I also have a couple more hikes that would kind of be bonus. I may get to them, or I may not. So let's talk about some of this stuff. I've actually already done some trips. I've already done some hikes. So just briefly, at the very start of the year, I think mid-January or something, I hiked a little bit more than half of the San Diego Trans-County Trail. It's about 160 miles from the Salton Sea across San Diego County all the way to the Pacific Ocean. So I had a great time on the SD-TCT, but more or less it was just an opportunity for me to test out some new gear, try some things, and kind of prepare myself physically for the year. Now, shortly after that, just like on pretty much a total whim, I bought a plane ticket to New Zealand, and I took a 2-week trip to New Zealand. I had two main things that I wanted to do. I wanted to see Sprocket, if you remember Sprocket from my PCT series in the Sierra. It is the same person. So I wanted to see Sprocket, and also my other goal was to see as many unique and interesting birds as possible. So I saw a ton of amazing birds. Sprocket and I spent the 2 weeks together going on a couple of hikes and just kind of traveling around the South Island, and it was a fantastic time. So let's get into this year. What are the big hikes that I'm going to do this year? Those were fun things. They're good little excursions, but, neither of them were like a full-on, big, hard through hike. So the first is, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm down in the desert. These are a bunch of globe mallows, nice little orange flowers that are very pretty. The desert is in bloom. So I'm just south of Phoenix, and this is the home of and the start of where my first trail is going to begin. This is where I've been preparing for it and researching it and planning it, and it's almost time to get going. So the first big trail that I'm going to do this year is the Grand Enchantment Trail. The Grand Enchantment Trail is about 750 miles, and it runs from Phoenix all the way east and north up to Albuquerque. So 750 miles, and when I call this a trail, it's not really a trail. It's more of an idea, it's more of a route. It was pioneered and created and mapped by Brett Tucker. Maybe you recognize Brett Tucker's name. That is because he is also the creator of the lowest to highest route in the Sierra, starting from Death Valley all the way up to Mount Whitney. So the lowest point in the U.S. to the highest point in the southern U.S. He's also created the Sky Islands Traverse, the Mogollon Rim Trail, the Northern New Mexico Loop. Anyway, he's created a whole bunch of different routes, a whole bunch of really interesting routes, and he's very well known once you dive a little bit deeper into the thru hiking and backpacking world. So this hike is going to involve a lot of cross-country. It's going to involve a lot of navigational problems to orient myself through. The planning and research is not easy because there's not a lot of people that have done it before. Though, shout out to Brett, he has an incredible website full of information. It's just not, the same as wanting to hike the PCT and you have literally 1,000 YouTube videos and 1,000 blog posts and 1,000 gear lists. Here you have Brett Tucker and maybe like 3 other blogs that kind of talk about it. So in that same vein, I am unsure if I'm going to see a single other Grand Enchantment Trail through hiker. I figure at most I may see like 3 or 4. but I'm very well prepared to spend this entire next month and a half or so alone in the desert. So the Grand Enchantment Trail, I think it's going to be the hardest hike that I've done yet, and it's definitely going to teach me a lot of planning, a lot of research, a lot of preparing, and no hasty decisions, and kind of playing it safe once I am out there. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be an incredibly interesting experience hiking through the desert in this kind of a challenging way. What am I doing after that? You know, I got the whole rest of the year to go. Well, I'm going to change things drastically. We are going to have a very diverse year because I'm going from the high desert, you know, very southern Arizona, New Mexico, all the way up to the Canadian Rockies. Actually, in July, I'm going to pick up Sprocket from the Seattle airport, and we are going to head east and north to the Great Divide Trail of Canada. The Great Divide Trail is another like 700-mile trail / route, and again, it's going to be a step up in challenge. But from what I've heard, it is one of the prettiest through hikes that a lot of my friends say they have ever done. And even if you look at the Great Divide Trail Association's website, what they call it is the wildest through hike. So the GDT starts at Glacier National Park and Waterton Lakes, where the Continental Divide Trail ends at the Canadian border, and the GDT continues north up through the Canadian Rockies for another 700 or so miles. We're talking big glaciated mountains, big rivers, big meadows. We're talking big bears, grizzly bear country, and it's going to be incredible. It's going to be so much different from this first desert hike, and it's going to be awesome. And I'm doing it with Sprocket, so that's going to be a whole new world as well. This is, again, a very remote hike. I think I read somewhere that the GDT in the 700 or so miles only crosses like 6 roads. And I think as you get further and further north, the trail just gets more and more remote. You know, just looking at the resupply plan that I've kind of like drafted at this point, like these are some big food carries, you know, and it's not like I'm doing that to myself. It's that there's no other option. So I think the GDT is going to be incredibly beautiful. And I think in combination with doing the Grand Enchantment Trail first and having that stark difference between the two is just so exciting to me. I'm very happy with those two plans. I'm very happy to be doing the GDT with Sprocket, and I'm very happy to be getting on trail here soon. I feel like I'm just about prepared for this year. But the other hikes I'm thinking about are, you know, maybe the Colorado Trail. Colorado Trail has been on my list for a very long time. You know, it's another incredibly beautiful hike. It's about 500 miles from Denver to Durango. I think the Colorado Trail would be a really fun time, you know, so if that's possible, I would love to do it. It would definitely be bonus, though. But I'm kind of at this point, you know, thinking that it's very possible. So maybe the Colorado Trail after the Great Divide. So anyway, thank you guys, as always, for following along. You know, let me know if you like these kind of updates. Let me know if you have any questions about the trails that I'm doing this year. Let me know if I can leave my car at your house for a little bit less than 2 months. That'd be great. Anyway, I hope you guys are as excited for the hikes this year as I am. They're going to be very challenging, but very beautiful. And hopefully I can depict the beauty through these videos. So I will catch you guys soon.